Last year I came and I gave you an update, and things are continuing to move along in a good way. If you look at where we stand in 2016, it's a pretty cool place. We look at the fact that unemployment went from 11.1, now we're at 5.5. We have more people working in South Carolina than ever in the history of the state. We have doubled our reserves. We have cut our debt service in half. The economy is moving. We continue to be one of the fastest growing economies in the country right now. And so all continues to go well. As we look at that, we look at the climate, and from our administration it is, okay, what are we doing to keep the state moving? For me, we very much say this is time where we have to double down, work twice as hard to keep up the momentum and manage it in a way that's popular. There are a couple of things that we're doing that will impact you quite a bit. First of all, proud to say that we do build planes with Boeing, but Boeing just celebrated their 100th plane that they produced. BMW, it is now the #1 BMW producing plant in the world. We added 2 more automobile makers to our South Carolina family, Mercedes-Benz vans and now Volvo cars, which has really made a splash in the automotive industry at being the new automotive hub. Then you add 5 international tire companies, and we just broke ground on the largest carbon fiber producer in the world, Torrey, in the upstate. So when you look at all of those companies and you see the fact that they're moving, the goal is, how do we continue to make sure that we keep that momentum in a way that works? It's about quality, and it's about quality of companies that come here, and it's about quality of life. So our focus is very much on the fact that what are we doing with quality of life? CEOs now, when they are deciding which state to move to, so much of it is focused on quality of life. They want to know where their associates will come from, what life they'll have after work, where they're bringing their executives in, what education looks like, what recreation looks like, what the culture in the area looks like. And so South Carolina is moving in a way that has shown, especially through 2015, what a great group of people we are. Our focus is now on training the workforce. What do we need to do to make sure that we can keep up with all of these jobs that are coming through? The first thing is that 5.5% unemployment number. We want to continue to see that come down. But we want it to come down in a way that everybody that can work will work. So our welfare program is still going very well. When somebody walks into a welfare office, they actually don't know they're sitting in an interview chair. And to date, we have taken 30,000 people off of welfare and put them to work. We started a new program in our prisons because what we saw was it's not just about recidivism rate, it's not about whether they come back into the prison, it's what do they do when they get out of prison. And what we want people to know is we do believe they can have a second chance, but we have to help in lifting them up. So we have started a career center in our first prison, Manning Correctional Facility. We are training in all of our inmates, in all of our facilities. But when we train these inmates in Manning, we're actually connecting them with businesses, and they're getting jobs before they even leave the fence. So that is something that continues to go well. I was supposed to go there yesterday, but they have a flu outbreak, so we're putting that off for a little bit as we go forward. And then we have, we're looking at the fact that we dealt with welfare, but we also wanted to look at the food stamp issue. We have what they call able-bodied adults without dependents. People who don't have children that can work, but they're not, and they're on food stamps. So what we're saying is, as of April 1st, we will give you food stamps only if you are working 20 hours a week or you are attending training seminars 20 hours a week. I strongly believe that by August, we will have a great story to tell. And I strongly believe those people are going to want to buy homes. Because once they realize what it means to get a job, once they feel what that power is like, then we will be able to get them to the next level. And putting them in those 20 hours of training a week, they're going to be effective training classes. It's going to be how to find a job. It's going to be how to learn a new skill. It's going to be how to develop a resume. We are going to work one-on-one with them to help them do that. So then we're also focused in on education. We are going to continue to build K through 12. We had already established that 3 years ago to where we stopped educating children based on where they were born and raised, and we changed the funding formula so that every child is getting a good education. We started putting reading coaches in elementary schools. We doubled down on that. We started putting technology in every school, regardless of the wealth of that community. And now this year, we are very proud to say that we are going to focus on rural teachers. I know growing up in Bamberg that there's something about not seeing the same teachers there year after year. Students need to feel worthy. They need to know that they deserve to have a good education as well, and a lot of that is by the teachers that they have and the consistency that they have. So now in South Carolina, any student that goes to college and wants to be a teacher, if they commit to 8 years in a rural school district, we will pay their college education for free. If they graduate from college and they decide that they want to be a teacher, we will pay for their student loans. If they want to go to get their master's, we will do that as well. 8 years will allow them to, one, commit to that community and allow that community to commit back. We're going to put in a mentorship program with them so that they know what it's like to have to teach in a rural area and they can learn with that. We did all of that without raising taxes. How? We just made it a priority. That's all it is. When you look at South Carolina and you look at the priorities have to be on jobs, they have to be on training, they have to be on education. And yes, they have to be on infrastructure. I know y'all are going to talk about potholes. I knew that was going to come up. So where are we on roads? This is the reason why I was running late getting in here is we're in a lot of negotiations with the legislators. We started last year trying to tell the legislature where we thought we could go to get a good funding stream going to roads. A couple of things happened that really set our infrastructure system back. Certainly 2 years ago, the 2 winter storms that we had turned those cracks in roads into massive potholes. The 1,000-year flood did not help with that. It really did a number on our interstates and on our highways. And so the $1 billion that we passed a couple of years ago, and then the other money we've put towards roads, it's happening, but there's more damage that we have to repair that we didn't anticipate that we were going to have to do. Having said that, we introduced our bill a year ago, and the Senate came back this year. The House obviously introduced theirs, which was a tax increase, which we said that we didn't think we needed to do. And the reason we didn't need to do it is last year we had $1 billion in new money. This year we had $1.3 billion in new money. The economists have said our economy is not going to be slowing down anytime soon. And so a tax increase is not the way to lure companies or lure residents and second homeowners to your state. What the Senate did was they acknowledged something that was very important. We had it in our original bill, and they put an emphasis on it. It doesn't make sense to put $1 towards roads if you don't reform the system first. Right now, there's horse trading going on with all of our roads. Roads are paved and widened, not based on safety, not based on traffic, not based on development. All the things it should be in the way we do it. Right now, it's about who happens to be president of the Senate or who happens to be in leadership position. That has to stop. The Senate listened to what we said. They have reformed the system. Their bill basically said that the governor's office would appoint the members to the commission instead of the legislature doing that. We'll be able to have a state plan, and then the State Infrastructure Board will also be able to be approved. All those projects would be approved by that commission. Now, what does that mean in 8th grade language? I always tell my office, talk in 8th grade language. We have a road right now in Florence, Highway 51. Who knows about it? Highway 51, they want to expand from a 3-lane highway to a 5-lane highway. Only 5,000 people travel that road every day. Now, how many of you represent roads that it's a lot more than 5,000 people traveling? That's the problem. That's what reform does, because there would be no way to expand that road if we had reform. So this is the great news. The Senate came through, they hunkered down, they bucked those that didn't want to see reform, and they passed a bill that did all of that. On top of that, they added $400 million more to roads, and they did it without raising taxes. What do we need to have happen now? The House is concerned that it wasn't their bill. and there's a little bit of a rift between whether they should go with the Senate bill or whether they should amend it. This is what we need to have happen today, and I'm so excited you're going to the State House, because we need the House to concur. We need the House to agree with the Senate bill. We will never get reform like this again. If you tell your House members to reform, and I have met with the leadership of the House, we have told them if they reform, I will work with them over the summer to get a direct funding stream, not just the $400 million every year, a direct funding stream that we don't have to sit there and find the money every year, and we will already have the reform in place. I'll already be able to start working with the DOT this summer to come up with a state plan, to look at traffic patterns, to look at safety, and to look at economic development, to see exactly where we need to hit first, and you will know what the traffic study is for the year instead of legislators knowing, which I think is extremely important for all of us. So my fingers are crossed that the House will concur today. They have not made a decision yet. I'm headed back over to the State House to talk to the group and let them know how this year and then the next phase next year, we will finally have a solution to our roads. So that is an exciting place for us to be at. Finally, and I'm going to take questions, so I'm happy to do that. I do want to just mention one thing. Last year, when we had the 1,000-year flood, there was no way to notify and tell the citizens what we thought was what we saw coming. There was no way to let them know how much rain was going to sit over the state and fall. So we did our best to tell everyone, be prepared, get ready. Just to give you an idea, the amount of rain that fell on South Carolina was enough to give a bottle to every American every day for 182 years. That's how much water fell on South Carolina. I remember the Sunday morning after it finally started to stop, and I was crossing the Gervais Street Bridge, and you could have just jumped and been in the water. It was that high. So we've been through a lot. I do want to give credit to our DOT because they quickly got us back on track in terms of fixing those roads and making sure they did everything they were supposed to. We've got incredibly hard workers at the DOT that want to do what they need to. But I also want to thank you because Nick Cremitis and the realtors, you stepped up and you immediately had grants for these people who had seen damage in their homes. FEMA came to us and they were a partner and they did help, but basically what they considered a safe home was if you had one room in your house without mold. And we can't have children living in houses with mold. And we desperately tried to educate that you can't paint over mold, that you have to gut it out, that you have to clean it out. We started the 1SC fund. And the 1SC fund is because government takes way too long. We'd still be talking about it if we were trying to do it. And so we came together with a lot of celebrities from South Carolina and said, let's take care of our neighbors. And to date, I do need to say this, the people who are rebuilding the homes, we have lots of service organizations around the state, but so much credit goes to the Methodists, the Baptists, the Adventists, Samaritan's Purse, the Catholics. Those were my groups that at the end of the day never told me no. Others said no. They never told me no. And when I asked them if they would stay, they said, if you continue to give us the supplies, we'll continue to stay. So we have raised money through the 1SC fund. Every dollar goes towards supplies. My foundation separately paid for all the administrative costs, so that was not an issue. To date, we have started rebuilding and are in the works of 675 homes, which is great work that we want to see, but we have 1,500 more to go. So my ask to you is, you are in Rotary clubs, you are in chambers, you are in Kiwanis clubs. When they talk about what they should do to help their communities and help areas, please don't forget the 1SC fund. Because while the sun is shining, you can take any right-hand turn and you're going to see areas that still have watermarks and homes that are still not able to move into. And for us, for our communities, we know that if there's a neighborhood that's destroyed, that hurts the real estate market. It hurts my ability to recruit a company. It hurts our ability to make sure those kids are in school and doing what they need to. So I just needed to throw that in. You have been very generous, and the number of grants that y'all gave was something that really none of the other associations did, and it greatly helped people and gave them hope. if you can continue to help us spread that word on what we can be doing for those flood victims, it really would go a long way. So I have to end it by saying this, because you're realtors and I want everybody to come here. We are at record tourism numbers. Again this year, we have hit record numbers. You saw that housing sales are up over 12% over last year. The average price is up 6% over last year. We are fast and furious encouraging people to buy second homes and to come on vacation and to move their companies here. South Carolina was named the friendliest state in the country and the most patriotic state in the country. And realtors, get ready, it was just named the #2 state in the country people are moving to. They want what we've got, so we want to make sure that we provide that for them. So I just want to thank you for what you do. It was not fun when everybody was going through a recession and times were tough, but you are survivors and you hunkered down and you pushed through it, and South Carolina has benefited for it. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.